afternoon, everyone. I'm KHOU 11 News anchor Ron Trevino coming to you from the KHOU newsroom. Going to fill you in on some of the stories that are trending online on KHOU.com and some of the stories that we'll have for you for our evening newscast starting at 4, of course 5, 6, and then tonight at 10 o'clock. Let's get you up to date on the big fire that we covered yesterday quite extensively, the Baytown ExxonMobil fire. We understand it has now been extinguished. The cause, though, is still under investigation. All the employees who were treated or underwent a medical evaluation are now cleared to return to work, the company is saying now. The fire at the ExxonMobil Baytown plant is out. The company tweeted out the announcement 24 hours after the fire first broke out and caused a shelter in place for areas west of that facility. Meanwhile, Harris County is filing a lawsuit against ExxonMobil, claiming the Baytown plant violated the Texas Clean Air Act. So that is the latest coming from Harris County in its reaction to that explosion and fire that happened at the Baytown plant. Another story that we're covering for you today is a strange crime story. A man sentenced 20 years in prison for shooting a Houston attorney over a handicapped parking spot. William Anthony Hall was sentenced Wednesday after being convicted of murdering James Garza. This happened in May of 2017. That man, a 71-year-old man, fatally shot a Houston attorney over a handicapped parking space, sentenced to 20 years in prison. William Anthony Hall was sentenced after being convicted of murdering 67-year-old James Garza. Now, apparently what happened, Garza went to the post office in the 4000 block of Broadway to pick up his mail. He parked in a handicapped parking space, didn't have a handicap sticker. Hall, who was licensed to carry, confronted him about parking in that handicapped spot. The two got into an argument, and that's when Hall shot Garza once in the chest. So that's one of the other stories that we're covering for you this afternoon. Now here's a really strange one, but you know, if you're hungry, this could be a great story for you. Do you like hamburgers? Well, how about a massive 4.5-pound burger in Pasadena? It's free if you can eat it in an hour. That's the catch, okay? This is in Pasadena. The Big Tex Super Burger features 4.5 pounds of all beef patty, 12 slices of cheese, pickles, lettuce, tomatoes, mayo, and mustard. It's $25. This burger will take a bite out of your budget, but if you can gulp it down in under an hour, it's free. A Big Tex owner, Samuel Barraza, says no one has been able to finish the burger so far. So, you know, Barraza, he calls himself Big Tex Sam. He created an even bigger belt-busting burger for the rodeo last year. But anyway, if you can do it, it's there in Pasadena for you. So those are just a few of some of the stories, just a few of the stories that we're working on this afternoon. How about the heat? Just how hot is it out there? Let's check in with Erika in the forecast. Hey, Erika.
Hey, Ron. Good afternoon. Yeah, we're talking lots of heat still in the forecast. We are officially in the start of the month of August, so happy August 1st, and that's officially the first day of the last month of meteorological summer. So technically, meteorologists keep track of the seasons throughout calendar months. So next month would be the start of fall. Obviously, that's not necessarily the case for us here in Southeast Texas, but usually that's the case for the majority of the country. So we're still talking daily rain chances in the forecast. Also, I have a tropical update because we're also getting closer to the peak of hurricane season, and that's something we monitor very closely at this time of the year also. So right now, temperatures in the mid-90s, seasonable for this time of the year. What we are seeing is a north wind. That's pretty interesting. I'll talk about why a north wind's in place, but it's still humid. Typically with the north wind, we're talking less humidity. This north wind is not bringing us less humidity. It's actually keeping us still on the muggy side. So details on that a sec. Let's take a look at your feel-like temperatures. If you're heading out and about this Thursday afternoon, it's feeling like triple digits for the majority of the viewing area, or at least close to that. Cloud coverage has suppressed that feel-like temperature slightly, feeling like 95 out in Wharton, 99 in Sugar Land. Cleveland, you're at the century mark right now, 103 out at Bush. So even though our feel-like temperatures, we've seen plenty of triple-digit feel-like temperatures, the actual temperature hasn't made it to 100 degrees yet this year. Here's a look at what historically we have seen so far for 2019. 0 days, Last year we had 5 days of triple-digit temperatures. That's the actual temperature on the thermometer that we spotted at Bush. So this is data all coming out from Bush, but the last time we didn't have triple-digit temperatures at all throughout the summer was in 2014. And get this, that's the only time so far for the 21st century that we've seen that happen. So pretty interesting. It's not very uncommon because if you actually go back in history 50 years ago, collecting all the data for 50 years, it's about a 50-50 chance that we'll see a year of that we actually hit the triple-digit mark or years that we don't hit the triple-digit mark. So pretty interesting data that's coming out from records. But as far as what's going on right now, not too interesting. It's pretty quiet out there. Heat, humidity, cloud coverage, a few sea breeze showers is all we're getting right now. Right now, just south of the Blessing area, we do have some spotty storms. So coastal storms is really all we're tracking. It's much quieter than what we've had throughout earlier portions of this work week. Overall, here's the setup. And I mentioned a north wind earlier and the reason why we have a north wind. This is the reason why. So we're under the influence of a ridge of high pressure. High pressure, it spins clockwise. All right, so my hand's spinning clockwise. Notice the storm track. We have storms around this ridge of high pressure, and because of where we are located, because of the center of that ridge of high pressure, it's dragging in a north wind aloft, and we're picking up some north winds at a few radar sites at the moment. So keep in mind at the surface we still have a easterly, southeasterly wind right now. So at the surface, that's bringing in our coastal showers. So as meteorologists, you got to look at every layer of the atmosphere, and that really paints the bigger picture as to what exactly is going on. Here's a look at that ridge of high pressure. High pressure typically means heat, but we do have storms that could ride along that ridge of high pressure. And then as we take a look at what it does to our temperatures, we're not in the heart of that ridge of high pressure. Notice this orange shaded color. That means triple-digit temperatures are likely happening, which is what we're seeing out in West Texas right now, New Mexico, Phoenix. They've been under the gun for some really high heat. But for us, we're seeing some yellow shaded color. So that's mid to upper 90s, pretty typical for this time of the year. It's what we've had. So again, we're still under the influence of this ridge of high pressure, but thankfully we're not in the center of it. If we were in the center of it, then we'd be talking about those triple-digit temperatures for us. All right, let's talk about future track. Coastal storms is all we're tracking, a 20%, not today, but also into tomorrow. Notice we may get some storms coming in from the north because of that influence of the upper level steering flows. As far as what future track brings us for the next 3 days, this weekend, have any weekend plans? This is what we can expect rain shower wise. We'll actually have a disturbance, increased rain chances 30% to 40% Saturday into Sunday. Notice our temperature is not going to change much. Temperatures are going to stay pretty stagnant and seasonable, or just a couple degrees above seasonable, but feel like temperatures will be well in the triple digits. All right, let's take you out to the tropics. There's 2 areas that we're monitoring right now. One of them that's shaded in yellow, which is actually bringing in very disorganized thunderstorms right now for the island of Hispaniola, parts of the Caribbean islands. That's a slim 10% chance of development. Not expecting much of it. It's just a wave. It's not an organized area of low pressure. So not really concerned with this. It has weakened throughout the last few days. What we are taking a close eye on, we're not extremely worried about it for us here in Texas, but there is a tropical wave that has a 70% chance of development in the next 5 days. Notice in the next 2 days, chances are low, but once the system continues to push westward into the Caribbean waters, then we're talking about conditions that are a little bit more conducive for development. Now, by this weekend, we may be talking about a tropical depression already, a weak tropical depression. I don't see anything significant, but you can kind of track that development. And the GFS model, we're taking a look at the GFS model. It's been pushing it east of Florida. What does that mean for us here in Texas and Houston? Not going to be a concern for us. Still something we're watching out for. That's the next system that has the closest chance of developing, and we're going to start to see these likely pick up and more systems that we'll be tracking as we get closer to the peak of hurricane season, which by the way is September 10th. So we're getting closer to the peak of hurricane season, which is why it's been relatively quiet so far this year. All right, quick look at your 7-day before I toss things back to To Ron, we're tracking partly cloudy skies through the rest of the work week. Again, a coastal sea breeze shower is all. Don't expect much change temperature-wise, mid-90s, but I would say your best rain chance will be Sunday. A few thunderstorms possible. Nothing to ruin your outdoor plans completely. Just have a backup plan just in case, and that's all you really got to worry about. All right, Ron?
All right, thank you so much, Erica. So there's your weather for now. We told you about some of the stories that we're covering for this evening, but apparently online we're getting a lot of response on the hamburger place in Pasadena. You know, if you can eat that $25 burger under an hour, you get it free there in Pasadena. We'll have more on that in our newscast tonight. I had a hamburger yesterday. It was a Whataburger with cheese, and I put on extra jalapeno. I regretted it, but I had some Zantac 75 at the house. Zantac, is that what it's called? 75? I think it's called Zantac. Anyway, those are the stories we're working on, and we'll have them for you. Be sure to tune in, starting on the 411 at 4 o'clock. Okay, I'll see you there. Ron Trevino, out.